Hi, welcome. I'm Michael, and I want to introduce my guest, Ondrej, today, who is a published author and spiritual and fitness coach. Welcome, Ondrej.
Thank you for having me.
How
Hello,
you
Michael.
doing
Hello,
today?
everybody. I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Thank you. We just had a little hurricane storm experience, but everything is intact.
I know it's a little crazy here in Florida with the storms, but I think we'll get through it.
Yeah, 2020 is just a year of challenges and putting order into disorder.
Yeah. So, this show is about the pandemic and what people are suffering from. And so maybe let's start about what have you experienced? How's this been for you this year? Have you gotten through this?
I've been observing not just my own life, but also the life of many of my close people. And what I've been seeing is that we are being put in test because nothing works anymore that we believe that will work. We are adjusting. So me personally, I cannot go and work out in the gym I used to. I cannot go in a restaurant as I used to. But I find other options, and I understand that this is just a reason for something bigger and better coming in the future. I tell many people that things that happen on the outside world are usually just the triggers of something bigger that's from within. And if the inside is balanced and in order, and if we have a relationship with ourselves that is healthy and balanced, then we are able to have a healthy and balanced relationship on the outside, no matter what is going on. We meet needs for ourselves by doing stuff for ourselves. I call it selfishness, selflessness. It's a kind of negative word, but I don't think it's negative in perspective. I describe it because nobody knows what you need besides you. And if you get to know yourself and you meet these needs for yourself, then everything that happens outside, COVID, restrictions, stress, somebody cut you in the traffic, are just minor things. And you know that they are there for a reason. They have no effect on you because your needs were already met. You already know that you're not hungry. You loving yourself, you think about yourself highly, you respect your body, your mind, and you're not looking out there to meet these needs from somebody else. So I think COVID and people now have these confusions how to live with distractions that we had before and now we don't have them. It was easy to run away, to
Right.
have a drink in a bar.
Yeah, but this is an unprecedented time. People that are normally mentally healthy and spiritually healthy and are struggling because this is just unprecedented. There's so much unknown and so much fear and so much craziness in the world. And how do you what do you tell somebody that's that's this is new to them? They've never had to struggle before and learn these paths and learn these teachings.
I agree with you, but it was long time coming, and root of suffering is expectations. So I need to first ask myself why I'm having expectations of something and why I think that it should be that way. The nature is changing constantly. When we're born, we're already dying. The flower is growing, it dies, it will be broken by wind, it will be watered by rain. It doesn't know what's going to happen. And we are part of that bigger picture. We're part of the nature. We're part of the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. That's why we need to drop all these expectations, fears, and control and focus on ourselves within. So just because we have an attachment towards our job or loved ones or material life doesn't mean that those are the things that we need to stress about. I know it's easy to say and hard to do, but it's an everyday practice, and we start from little things.
Right.
First things that we need to start to do is meditation and calm and peace. If we are not able to sit still for 5 minutes alone with ourselves, then how can we be around people in the house during the COVID, correct?
Right.
So there is
How,
a many
how does
self-help.
somebody start that? I mean, what do you tell people that come to you and ask you for help? How do you help them start?
I ask them questions, and usually what happens when we are talking about certain problem in their life, whatever the problem is, we end up in their childhood. If they are having a problem with their spouse, for example, husband, wife, brother, sister, it usually comes down to that there was some kind of a problem in a childhood within a relationship of their parents and them. So I give you example. My friend grow up without father, and he was only around his mom, and he never really knew how to create healthy relationship with a man because father was never available, and mother was bitter against her husband because he cheated on her. Yeah. So all what he heard was, don't trust another woman. So he never really knew how to create healthy relationship with the women, how to create a relationship with the man. Mother was saying him certain things. So he's been living life very confused, and he's very wounded. So he went through therapy and realized that all these beliefs been put into him, and he's trying to date and trying to, trust people and trying to create relationship with men and with the women. But it was just simply because the childhood was kind of messed up.
Yeah, and if you don't heal that, it just follows you along into everything in your life.
Exactly. And the triggers might have started with little things like in a school, I've been bullied and I didn't stand up for myself because I felt like I don't deserve it because my parents were too busy to spend time with me and tell me that they love me. So when I go to school, I allow other people step all over me instead of saying, no, this is not who I am. You're not going to talk to me like that. Then fast forward into adulthood, and I'm having a relationship and I'm doing the same thing with my partner, husband, wife. I'm allowing them to cross my boundaries because I never set those boundaries. That's why I selfishly need to go within and say, this doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, I don't have patience for somebody like that in my life. You're not going to talk to me like that. Not being rude or being nasty and being cussing, but just simply know who I am, selfishly set the boundaries and not allowing these triggers to go any farther.
Well, how do you figure out what your root problem is? I mean, there's usually a root problem, like you're saying, this situation from the childhood. If you're not somebody that has ever been in therapy or is kind of new, a spiritual world, how do you figure out where your root problem is?
So usually this root problem is something that we are hiding inside and we are ashamed of. We don't want to have it to be exposed for whatever reason. So I call it a secret, and we are only as sick as our secrets, because if I'm holding a secret, what do? My agenda is always fake self, because I'm trying to pretty much say the lie.
Yeah, you're always hiding that.
Always hiding it. So, it might have been a simple secret, just like I talked about the childhood. I'm ashamed of my parents divorcing and me now protecting the heart and not trusting relationship, because in my mind I believe that since my parents divorced there is no love or there is no trust. So this is my secret, that's my issue, right? Because it's my issue, I'm sabotaging every other relationship coming towards me. I'm purposely making it fall because in my mind I believe it's not going to work anyway. So this is the secret that I need to ask myself if I have, because vulnerability is number one fear for a human being. It's actually a bigger fear than death. Being vulnerable is the path to go. Being not afraid to show your raw skin, and that will be the recipe. We can expose it through therapy.
Taking a look, and you have to sort of be conscious and look back at your life and look at the different things that happen to you and try to find, maybe look at what triggers you, right?
Yeah, like it's like a detective. It's almost like you come on a crime scene and you asking why. Why is the pan over there? Why is the knife over there? So you look at your everyday life and you ask yourself why. Why am I feeling in the morning the way I'm feeling? Where is it coming from? Why am I feeling when my friend tells me I cannot call you? Why am I feeling rejected? Where is this rejection coming from? Is it something that maybe because I had to choose between two parents, or because I was abused, or because whatever? The reason what is happening now is not the reason what we need to focus on. It's like when people become sick, we are usually looking for the signs and we try to take a pain medication, but it's not the issue. The issue is within much deeper. It could be a much deeper problem, but we are focusing on the just to numb it down and overlook it and not pay attention to it.
Right. So it's really you need to be conscious and take a look and really focus on and really just look at everything. You know, you can't
Yes, look at everything. Yeah, yeah.
you can't
Don't.
pretend that it never happened.
Yeah, not lose. Not use the habits of past in the present and try to be conscious of a decision making. Always know that I have a decision about the way I'm feeling, that I don't have to feel this way right now if I don't want to.
Yeah.
And also move away from the future and expectations to present moment, meaning I'm not expecting this outcome to be this way because right now it's now and I need to put all my attention 100% here, and we'll see where it goes. And if it goes a certain way that I might be still challenged, there is a reason for it that I need to conquer. And I believe in the highest best of the universe, because that's where we are born here. We are born here to be loved and being happy. But somehow, somewhere, society tells that something is wrong with us, that we need to make more money, or we need to look differently, and we need to have different color of the skin. And we start believing it and emotionally attached to these brainwashing ideas, and start feeling emotionally down or up, depend if we believe that this is the truth, or this is the good, or this is the bad. But really, everything in life and in the world just is. There is no good or there is no bad. Without the white, there wouldn't be black, and without the light, there wouldn't be darkness. So we just need to understand that everything is in perfect order, and the way we judge it is only from within. So if we change the inside, we will see the outside.
Yeah.
If we have a gratitude every day towards little things, we will have a gratitude towards bigger things later on. But you can never appreciate anything if you don't appreciate the basics of yourself, of you, who you are, and know that who you are make you those experiences from the past to be right now, even though if it was harmful. But I for example, see my dad struggling with money, constantly collecting antiques and being very cheap on himself and always complaining about money because that's what he's manifesting, right? So yeah. I want a different path. I want to, maybe invest into stocks, maybe get a second job, maybe buy things that are better quality. And I feel rich inside. The number can be always high or low, but within I feel rich. I don't need to feel that I don't have enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, probably everybody has at least one thing that's positive in their life at the moment that they can say, oh, today I have at least one thing that I can be happy about. But one thing is good, right? Would that be like a good place to start?
That would be a wonderful place to start, yes, because that would be the appreciation of yourself, yeah. And it would be the gratitude, and it could be just the simple fact that I'm breathing. Right. I mean, how many people are not even here, or they are on machines, breathing machines. I mean, you can open a YouTube and watch videos about people challenging no legs, no feet. Just look at your body, and you're able to stand up from bed. Right. It doesn't have to be necessarily a success of business or having family, or you can really come up with anything.
Yeah, that I have somewhere to sleep tonight.
There we go.
It could be just that,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's one things that's positive, and then you can follow up with the one thing that you want to improve that day, and start working on it. If you want to change, so it can be a losing weight, it can be being more patient, it can be learning a new skill. It's just simply even go and research on that new skill, or simply research on how to lose a weight, or just meditate for 5 minutes to practice patience. Just starting a little every day, adding 1% improvement into your life. Right. You look behind you 5 years later, and you might be a completely different person.
Yeah. So how did you start on your spiritual journey? I don't think people are actually born spiritual. I always think it's kind of a journey, right? Would you say
Absolutely.
that? So absolutely. How did you come to where you are today? What was your little journey?
I believe when we are born that we are connected and conscious and living now, but then the society and parents, culture and religion, whatever is around us, kind of mold us into whatever it wants us to be, and we start believing that we need to be that. So then there is this time of shredding and again finding our voice and our own self. In my case, I grew up in a Czech Republic in Europe, and I always wanted to go to America. So I immigrated when I was 19 years old and came to US. But my programming was always putting other people first before me, because my mother was doing it. I would never really see her giving herself love and attention, because as much as she was doing for everybody else. And it got to the point that she was frustrated about things, but I knew it was because she was not able to say no to a person coming to visit and such. So in my case, I was always in a job of waiters and managers and taking care of people and hospitality. So I wasn't eating right. I was always stressed. I was always worrying about, everybody else being happy. And I started having
following
healthy.
after your mother.
I'm sorry?
You were following after watching how your mother functioned in the world.
Subconsciously. I didn't know it back then. I just
Yeah.
thought that I need to be that way because as a little boy, that's what was presented to me.
Yeah.
And my father was very hardworking as well. I mean, he would come home from work and he would do stuff around the house, but I don't think that they really showed me how to practice treat themselves. Like I would never see my mom to go get a massage or my dad to get a pedicure or anything like that. That was unknown to me.
Right.
I just didn't know it because it was always about, saving money, working hard, taking care of children or, and my parents grew up in a communism. So it was a little different. But with me, I wanted to come to America, but when I came over here, I was practicing the same thing, working hard, doing jobs, cleaning bathrooms, washing dishes, making money and saving money to maybe, in the future help my family. And then I became sick and started having seizures. And in the Western world, when something happens with our health, we go to a doctor, and doctor has another line of stuff that he tells you what is wrong with you and gives you a pill.
And some pills.
Give you a pill. Exactly. So they put me on epilepsy medication because that's what it says, right? Seizures equal epilepsy. They did my MRI, but didn't find anything on the brain. But they said, hey, that's what it is. So I went with that for a while, but I was just not feeling right. My mom came to visit here in America in the middle of the night. I had a seizure. She couldn't wake me up, didn't know what's wrong with me. So it was bothering her. So she started researching when she returned back to Czech, somebody who can maybe help me spiritually, maybe who can heal me somehow. So she talked to this one guy, and then he started doing remote healing on me. And I don't know if that was the beginning of it, but I didn't know that's what she was doing. But I was still bothered by my life, why I don't have a good relationship with girlfriends, and why I'm, exhausted all the time and having seizures and stuff. And then one day I asked myself, why? And I realized that it's all me. I said, because I'm choosing that. And as soon as I mentioned it to myself, the same day I found a book. I was walking through the aisle on the plane, and I found a book called Secret, which talks about what you see inside of your mind, you see on the outside. It's a very famous book if you haven't read it or didn't see the movie. It's a great beginning for anybody. I always suggest it to people because it really puts things in such a simple way. Pretty much, if you want something, you manifest it and it will show up. Well, it doesn't really work like that, like a magic. But
well, we all want it to work like that.
We all want to
be that easy, right?
We all want to be David Copperfield and just happening. But it's what I was talking about. When you're following the program, you see the program in your head, and you just creating your outside world. So they're trying to tell you, if you see a danger in your head, you're going to see it on the outside. I never in my life came across confrontation with anybody because I never fought. I never seen anybody fight in my family, and I never had a problem with anybody. And I have friends that are going into fights all the time, but their personality and their envisioning is always about danger and fight and getting into confrontation. So I think it has a lot to do with that. So when I read the book, I chose author Wayne Dyer, and I read more books from him because he contributed into book Secret. And I been really inspired by what he was talking about. And I continue with other authors, Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And I start researching, and suddenly this huge door opened, and I realized that I know nothing, and all my knowledge that I thought that is truth is just shattered. And I really pretty much started from the beginning, piece by piece.
Start all over. and learn
all
what
over,
really
all
is
over.
true for you.
All over. So my ego was screaming because, I just had certain beliefs, and my ego was whispering in my ear, oh, this is wrong, or this is bad, and this is good. And then I realized that it's just the voice that I need to numb down and just be in now without any kind of agenda, and just be open to possibilities. And once I did that, I start targeting fears of insecurities. I start eating healthier and treating my body with respect, physically, mentally, emotionally. I start believing something higher, which I always was, because my mom was Catholic and my dad. So I was always believing in a God, but this was more wider. This was more universal. This was more in a loving way, almost like a love is the power of this world. And if I love myself, I'm going to see the love out there as well.
But it's a
So
long process. It didn't just happen overnight. It took a lot of work and effort on your part.
yes, yes. Yeah, one of the first thing was, I wanted to feel like that I'm a man. So I was maybe doing little dangerous things at the beginning. I would go and jump from the plane, skydive, or
Right.
I would start doing amateur cage fighting, because at that time I believed that that's what I need to do. However, I didn't have anybody around me as a family member, because everybody in Europe who would tell me, don't do this, it's too dangerous. And pretty much they would be enabling me. I was responsible for that action, which is important too. I knew I'm deciding it to do it, and I never used it as a victimization. So if I would get hit by a guy in a cage, I would say, you know what, I'm an idiot. What I'm doing here, lesson
Right.
learned. I'm never doing it again. And that's important. Why we are on this journey. We need to be responsible for the, of course, mistakes, but also for any kind of success, and celebrate those successes. So when I got to the point, I wanted to write a book, and I published a book with my co-author. I had to celebrate and acknowledge that I achieved something wonderful, and I didn't think about making money or what it's going to do in the future. It was simply what I wanted to do, and I felt that it was a great success and an exciting journey, but
So,
hard work.
yeah. So tell us about the book. I'd like people to know
Well,
about your book.
the book is called Reverse. And the reason why I call it reverse is because when we speak about fixing problems now, we're almost reversing back to childhood, reversing back to us. And that's what I felt I did with my life. So in this book, it has about 10 chapters. I'm describing reversing in different aspects of our life. And I broke it into 3 pillars, which was nutrition, exercise, and spirituality. I just believe those are really 3 important things for our being. We need to have a good quality food to nourish our body, and drink water and such. We also
And
need to be
everything
moving.
needs to be in combination. It's not just one thing that helps us out.
Exactly. It's got to be in balance. And what I noticed is that many people had one standing too high. There were persons that were, meditating, and they were, believing in spiritual world and such, but they were not eating, and they end up not being balanced correctly, or they were not moving, so they would broke bone because their body was not nourished the right way. And then other people were in the gym working out hard, eating correctly, but then they didn't have a solid belief inside. So when they should have a spiritual relationship, they just didn't know how. So I just wanted to put these 3 pillars in a good balance.
So it's the body,
Body
mind, and spirit all have to be equal.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think these truths have been here for thousands and thousands of years, but somehow we just don't believe them. I don't think that we are talking about right now to anything new. I think everybody really, if they think about it, say, well, I know that. It's
Yeah.
not new to me. I think if we just believe that inner voice that is telling us what to do, that is guiding us from the time we were little children, we were these wonderful, beautiful, loving human being. If we just follow this voice, it will take us where it's supposed to take us. We don't need to be judging it. And then in this book, I use some examples of my journey and people that I met along. I met a lady that was, 400 pounds, and she lost all the way up to 120. And I'm
Wow.
saying, okay, that's a big deal. How did you do it? She
Yeah.
said, well, it's not just about dieting. I had abusive husband. And by coping with my situation, I was locking myself in the bedroom, and my only control was to eat. And I said, wait a minute, why did you end up with an abusive husband in the first place? She said, well, I grew up as a little girl in a very a Catholic family where when you married, you are with the person forever. And I knew that my dad always wanted me to marry one person that I marry and stay with them. And I didn't want to disappoint my father. Disappointing of my father was holding me back from divorcing my husband. And it wasn't until her father died and passed, and she realized that she needed to take control of her life and
She could
situation.
take a look at what was going on.
Yeah, and then she was able to divorce the man and then put her health in a better path. But that's what I'm talking about. You know, it's not always the situation on the outside that we think, oh, somebody is obese, they're eating unhealthy. The root of suffering might be in 40, 60, 30 years in past.
Right. And you got to look for that. That's sort of what we were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So we just made a whole circle to this. That's where it all starts from. But it is just so hard because we are here conditioned to be pleasing the society. We are here to condition to be showing off something to somebody. And when you ask me how I started, you almost have to say big F word to everybody around you and really close in for you, because if you don't do it, you constantly gonna look if they're gonna approve me. And remember, because you lived your false self, you surrounded yourself with people that know you as a false self. So suddenly, of course, no matter what you're gonna do for yourself, they're gonna judge you for it. They're not gonna be approval of that because they want you to keep the way you are. Nobody likes change. Brain hates change. Oh, don't too dangerous. Don't just stay with us. Just be miserable. Just be here with us. That's good. Let's do a miserable group. Oh yeah, you hate that politician too. Oh yeah, I hate him too. Good, let's be friends. Because what? Misery likes company. But when you go into the level and when you start thinking differently, you're gonna also surround yourself with differently thinking people, like-minded people.
Yeah, they kind of find you.
Yes, you attract it, and you attract
Yeah.
it. That's the secret thing. That's the secret book. You will attract it into your life without attracting it because you are it. There's just no way. When you look at somebody who is an artist, they're really in the moment. They're doing what they love. You can really see how happy they are. That's the thing. It's got to become an art. Your life is an art.
Yeah.
So
you have something to help somebody quickly, like some thoughts or something you could tell people that are watching this that are really struggling? You have some ideas of something quick that maybe they could do to feel a little better right now?
Well, we talk about that one positive thing of gratitude. I believe that will be the start. You have to find one thing that you're grateful for. And if there is something from the past that you know already, maybe from a childhood, that is like a dark cloud over your head, it might be a person who hurt you, or it might be somebody who done us wrong, some kind of regret. It will be good to take a piece of paper and write down how we feel about it.
Right.
And when you let things out, because we all want to be heard. When somebody is listening us, and maybe somebody is not around to hear it, but you can write it into words, into a letter, and after a few pages, you will be maybe more aware and unplugged from this emotion, and you will be looking at it as a witness, not as a victim from the perspective, because you will understand that if the person did something to you, they didn't really did it because of you, but they did it because maybe they were hurt in the past. Maybe their situation wasn't great. Maybe father of the father was an alcoholic or was abuser as well.
Yeah, you never know where somebody comes from.
Exactly. And if it was a stranger, you just don't know their agenda. So when you write it down, you kind of put yourself on a sideline and you observe the situation, and you might be even willing to forgive this person, but you're not really forgiving them, you're forgiving yourself.
Right.
And feeling compassion towards the other person, maybe because they also had some tough times or they've been abused and such, they will create compassion, and it will be easy to forgive them.
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody can be depressed if you are grateful. I mean, there's a lack of gratitude in depression, and of course, things happen in life. We lose loved ones. People don't treat us how we deserve, but there is a reason for it. And maybe as deep as we fall, the higher we will rise.
Right. So And would your book be a good place for people to start if they got your book?
I think so. I think so. They can find it on Amazon, reverse,
Yeah.
and my name, Ondrej Zouhar.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the link under the video so they can just, click on it into Amazon
Sure. Yeah.
and get the book.
Yeah. And many others. I mean, my book, I wrote it because I simply just wanted to share my story. But I always tell people anything from Wayne Dyer, Tony Robbins, uh, Napoleon Hill, as I mentioned earlier, Bob Proctor. I mean, the books and biographies are out there. And if you read biography, you also realize that these people struggled and suffered, and they were not successful just because they were lucky. There is never such a thing as luck. I mean, yes, you got to be at the right place at the right time, but you have to be also ready for a success.
And they all had
And
challenges that they had to overcome.
yes, exactly. And when you hear someone actually being grateful, like Wayne Dyer, for example, he's amazing. He wrote a book, I Can See Clearly Now, meaning now I know why things happen. His father walked away on a family. His mom couldn't pay for him and his brothers, so she put them in a foster home. So little Wayne is in a foster home by himself as a little 7-year-old. And all these new children that are coming in are crying and being, all depressed and being without parents. So what Wayne started doing, he started making them feel better, making them laugh, showing them around, saying, hey, don't cry, this is great, we have toys, you don't have to share with anybody. There are no parents, nobody's telling you what to do, right? But as an adult, he still feels regret for his father because his father was an alcoholic. And it wasn't until he was about 65 years old that he realized that his father was his biggest teacher. Thanks to father walking away from family and Wayne ending up in foster home, he became world famous author, life coach. And what he's been doing as a little child in foster home, he's been doing as an adult man, as a psychologist, as a teacher in a school, making people feel good, making them see the light at the end of the tunnel. It wouldn't be possible without that experience.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. I can see clearly now why am I where I am, why I had a seizures, why I had people that disappointed me, why I got scammed for money many times, because I had to learn certain lessons. And I have to be grateful for those lessons.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this was amazing. I want to really thank you for taking this time. Hopefully somebody's going to see this and it'll help them through this incredible time that we're in. And thank you for taking the time with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. God bless you, everybody. Namaste, love and light, all of it. Shine and positive energy to everyone.
Have a great day.
You too.